Hello, welcome to another edition of Top 10 Worst of Lists, the best and worst of lists. I'm your host for today's endeavor. My name is Claude Balls. It's so bad. Sorry. Because this is very serious stuff here. What I'm trying to do with Top 10 Worst of List is a list featuring 10 items, the worst of a wide variety of categories and interests. I think that probably explains it pretty succinctly. And we've been recognized. We've won a Drama Desk Award, 1983. We won a Pulitzer in the late 1990s. And most recently, we've won a People's Choice Award for the most profane and useless wasting of people's time. And I'm proud of it. Today's Top 10 Worst of List is just something just so extraordinary that you'll be, I think you'll be, wetting your pantaloons with excitement over this one. And I'm not even kidding. It's the top 10 worst TV show elevator pitches. Now, a lot of you out there, who've lived, remarkably cloistered and unobservant lives on, some combination of autopilot and, sort of like a snooze alarm, a living embodiment of a snooze alarm. You might not know what an elevator pitch is. It's basically like a real short, paragraph or two in regards to some dumbass TV show idea that you're looking to try to get funding for or greenlit during a TV production meeting. Succinct elevator pitches are rumored to have been responsible for such endearing and beloved TV series as BJ and the Bear and Manimal, and who could possibly forget the one of the greatest shows of all time, TJ Hooker. But today I've got some the top 10 worst TV elevator pitches of all time, as researched by my crack team of former crack addicts who gathered together outside of the Corn Palace in South Dakota and come up with these lists while taking copious doses of Jack Daniels mixed with baby aspirin. And but before we get into that, just a couple of things just so that we know where each other's coming from. I don't know where you're coming from, but so you know where I'm coming from. Number one, this thing on my lip is not a herpes or anything herpes oriented or related. I kind of abrased myself. It wasn't necessarily a cut, but I used a razor that had gotten a little too dull. I'm one of the last people on earth that uses a single blade razor. I'm not one of those guys who's down with I think on average they're up to about 5 blades now, right? It's stupid. Just make the one blade more durable and sharper. 5 blades. What a complete... you're really saving that much time by having to go through 5 blades worth of... And the best razors were like those old safety razors and those interchangeable blades and stuff like that. I can only imagine the gigantic Mount Everest of plastic that we've created from all of those plastic handle things that we've been, disposable razors have been contributing to landfills for the last 75 years, since we allowed them to convince us that safety razors weren't giving us a close enough shave. Smooth as a baby's bottom. If the baby is Cro-Magnon, baby. But what I wanted to point out most explicitly is that I think you probably can tell by just looking at me that I'm not to be trusted. That this isn't somebody that you'd want to meet in a dark alley, behind an opera house while you're sneaking out early with the Wayne family from Wayne Foundation fame down Crime Alley. And then all of a sudden, the guy who, depending on the universe that you've stumbled upon, could be like a guy who turned into the Joker, is waiting for you, and stabbing action. Oh, gotcha, got your wife too, right in front of your kid, who I'm just gonna leave alone so they can be a witness to eventually come and harass me as I do many, many crimes. None of that makes sense. The kid's just staring there like dumbfounded. And he's like, oh, I'll leave a witness. Good idea. That won't come back to haunt me. Stab child. I don't get it. None of that makes any sense. It's just about as nonsensical as it can get until you figure out that they're trying to show a billionaire as a human being. I think at that point, we could tell that this is just pure fantasy that is untethered with any sense of reality that we've all come to know and love. So I'm not going to be able to provide you with the type of emotional support and intellectual affirmations that you're seeking in a world literally drowning in lies. But that's, I think, a good thing. Because, and here's why. If you maybe take a minute out of your own time to fact check stuff yourself, you hear things like, oh, that couldn't possibly be reality. And then you go look it up and you're like, oh my God, how could I have possibly been wrong all these years? Because you're wrong a lot more than you think. And these people that are, foisting these ideas, 100% of the time are intentionally manipulating you so that you will serve the purposes of our benevolent overlords on high in the great ivory towers and the gated communities of love and prosperity. Because we don't know anything that's good for us. My great providers shall bestow upon us all that is needed for us to have perfect, resonating lives, that indelible. Don't make me laugh. And the other thing, I'm not going to be down. I'm sorry. With your little hate-mongering game of dissension via political party. It's just, I'm tired of it. I'm not into hating anyway. I'm looking to try to rise above our earthly burdens and create a fighting force of extraordinary magnitude that honors our ancestors. And finally gives us an opportunity to grasp and swaddle our birthright. And, it's just not happening, man. If you want to keep partisaning your way into oblivion, go right ahead. Far be it from me to try to move you from your intractable position of being the rock and or the hard place, and providing hours of fun and exciting and diverting television shows that they are secretly recording in all these cameras they've plastered all over the damn place, and turning into because the ruling class is the only thing that makes them feel good. The only thing that keeps them entertained is watching good people suffer. So I guarantee you, somewhere out there's a channel of human suffering, the Human Suffering Channel, the HSC, Home Shopping Network, yeah, and they're laughing their asses off, and that's what all these cameras are for. Because they're not slowing down crime with all these cameras, and just since they came up with this, it's not like they stopped crime. They should have been able to stop crime by now with all these freaking cameras and these grids and locators and bank accounts and all of our economic activities. They can see when somebody gets more things than they should have based on the income that they've got legally. Should be able to see that, isolate these people, pick them up, investigate them, and throw them into jail. But none of that ever happens. And people are, like petty crime and stuff like that, crime waves, and people, middle-class businesses getting harassed and ripped off, and all kinds of different things that they should be able to solve in 2 seconds. But is that going on? No. It's not even 2 years that they figure out what's going on. It's either the crimes and the criminals are all like paid political operatives that are intentionally trying to destroy small businesses and make life impossible for them, or they're creating reality TV shows for themselves by torturing, average working class decent folks. Neither one would, be a surprise to me, and that you haven't sort of come to those conclusions is all that surprises me. So anyway, let's get on with it, shall we? Before we dig down deep, we've got some commercial endorsements that I'm required to remunerate. We've got from the makers of fake meat made from tofu. It's now near fu, which is fake tofu made out of 100% meat products. For those that are sort of addicted to and loving the taste and mouthfeel of tofu products and tofu-related foodstuffs, now comes near fu, the fake fu. For this, you can make near fu egg foo young, near fu. I had a good list of this one. Near fu mushu porks. There's a bunch of them. But anyway, it's near fu. And next, coming up from the Dancing with the Stars. No, that's a dumb one. Meat Loops from makers of Fruit Loops. Nah, I already did the meat joke with the near fu. The Return of the from the producers of the movie Return of the Jedi. Now comes Return of the Jed. Jed Clampett comes for Star Wars and discovers oil on the Death Star. Black Gold. Texas Tea. And then, from the Discovery Channel, a sequel to Shark Week. Shark Week. We're not legally allowed to describe some of the things that are presented on Shark Week. I'm sorry to say. And then, I don't know. Some of the stuff is really so bad. Uncle Buck Naked. That's people will find that probably cringe. The Smokey Robinson and the Bandit. from the producers of Smokey and the Bandit, Smokey Robinson and the Bandit, a musical Motown, sort of period picture featuring Smokey Robinson and the Miracles chasing around Burt Reynolds in a custom Firebird. It's Smokey Robinson and the Bandit. Let's finish up with this. Today's advertisements were stunningly bad and unfunny. All right, anyway, so top 10 worst TV show elevator pitches. Number 10, pizza delivery porn guys, Big Bang Theory. So it's a porno pizza delivery guys mashup with Big Bang Theory. I never saw Big Bang Theory, so I don't know if that's just a bad joke in terms of like not really being a pun or relevant or anything like that, or just doesn't fit to the nature of what Big Bang Theory was all about somehow, or doesn't. I mean, it's just bad all the way around. I really should have probably have workshopped this a little bit, maybe focus grouped. If that's the opening salvo in this top 10 worst of lists, could be in a little trouble here. Might be a little bit, you might want to, let's give it one more. And if it's, also that bad, maybe I'll just breeze through it really and just regroup and lick my wounds. But anyway, number 9 of the top 10 worst television elevator show pitches. Television show elevator pitches. It's going so well so far. What do you think? 2.5 2024 college Gaza war protesters. Clunky. It's better than pizza delivery porn guy version of Big Bang Theory, but not by much. I probably should have stuck with Big Wang Theory, where, it's just a bunch of guys hanging out, talking about a bunch of, like, really esoteric pop culture references. And then someone comes in and has to guess which one has the big wang. Perhaps that would have been a funnier one for number 10. But number 2, 2.5 2024 college war protest, Gaza war protesters. I mean, this is important political relevance. Part of the Gaza war 2024 protests. I think the most resonating part of that was that it helped Trump get elected. People were seeing all the radicalization of college campuses. It sort of struck a chord with their memories of the insanity of the 1968 Democratic Convention, and they had the 1968 convention was in the same city that the 2024 Democratic Convention was in. So I think it was sort of probably designed in large part to project that same identity that Richard Nixon had co-opted for himself in 1968, which was the law and order president. They had the Ronald Reagan biopic that they released with Dennis Quaid in the last couple of months before the election. So they were actively seeking to draw upon the memories of right-wingers to get them motivated to go to the polls, sort of trying to capitalize or exploit the memories of Dutch, as he came to be known, Ronald Reagan, and, just sort of have Donald Trump ride the coattails of all that. And you get a lot of things that were questionable that were going on that very much looked like they were designed to try and get right-wingers out to the polls. And they will, the interesting thing about all that stuff is that it does really kind of seem to get right-wingers out to the polls, whereas nothing seems to get left-wingers out to the polls very much. You got a little bit of that in the midterm elections back in 2018 from the anti-abortion crowd having so much effective results in the co-opting of the Supreme Court, all kind of stuff. But I just I'm not again. You had the Amon Kalane thing in the Olympics with the woman with male chromosomes who was allowed to fight and beat the hell out of every other woman in the category to get the gold medal. I think that was set up by the right. I mean, the Olympics are in on it. You obviously saw that FIFA was in on it when they gave Trump a FIFA Peace Prize. They created a FIFA Peace Prize for Trump and gave it to him. So, I mean, these big organizations are totally down with the global fascist identity and creating a white Aryan nation type of thing. And then you've got, you had the Bud Light thing with, the trans woman, Delaney, Mulrooney, maybe? Can't remember. But anyway, you had that, and that was scandalous. I mean, Bud Light was almost completely wiped off the planet. And wouldn't the living envy the dead in a planet without Bud Light? I mean, let's be serious. And, the 2024 Gaza protests were part of that whole thing. And people were seeing their society collapse, and they're projecting the same thing, having the Democratic Convention being in Chicago. Was just calling up a lot of bad memories for the great silent majority supposedly exists and stuff like that. And so whether or not you believe the elections are real, which I don't, but if you did, even if you didn't, it creates a narrative that helps explain how we could all see the election of Trump for another term as somewhat believable. And that was the main, I think, result, because of the 2024, when they're all protesting and trying to get people to provide a little relief for the beleaguered people of Gaza who were being, dumped on, for lack of a better way of putting it, if they really believed in that stuff, why did they all bail when summer vacation hit? Because they all bailed. If they were really believed if it wasn't a cosplay to help provide a exciting and clickbait or whatever they have on TikTok for likes, opportunity for them, and just like sort of playing the game, then why did they all bail? They all bailed. What happened to the fight? What happened to the sacrifice? What happened to the plight of all these people who are suffering so much? I mean, these were all, a lot of these things were done on rich campuses like Columbia and Northwestern and USC and whatnot. So, look, these are rich kids who got a lot of money. You could probably do something fun, exciting on their summer vacation. And that's what they did. They didn't show up to the 2024 Democratic Convention either, because they were still on vacation. And so, not impressive. Not lending oneself to feeling that these were genuine and authentic people. And they were just stupid. I mean, that old quote, and I'll have to paraphrase this, but the goal of the revolutionary artist is to make revolution irresistible. Now, the protesters in 2024, the Gaza protesters, did anything but make it irresistible. I mean, you got there in Chicago, they blocked the feeder ramp one time to O'Hare Airport, and during a busy travel time, and people wound up having to walk on big, tall, bridges and stuff for miles to get to the airport on time because they decided that they were going to have a protest that blocked the feeder ramp so people couldn't drive to the airport. Now, how is that making the revolution irresistible when you're taking a bunch of people who probably don't know much about the issues at all, who are just trying to live their lives, and the only contact that they have with protesters is one that deeply inconveniences them, and who knows, maybe they missed flights to loved ones, maybe loved ones died, and they didn't get to see them or say goodbye because they were blocked by the feeder. It's all negative, is what I'm trying to say. And there's nothing that makes, the whole goal is to bring in more supporters, more people who are on the same team with you, not offend everybody. And they did the same thing in a Monday morning rush hour to block the feeder ramp to downtown off of the main expressway in Chicago. And, I mean, now you're talking about thousands upon thousands of people are being victimized by your own self-imposing methods. Now, you could have gone to, Boeing headquarters and blocked the access to that. You could have gone to federal buildings and blocked the access to it. But no, they chose to block the feeder ramp for all people. So now, I mean, it's not making the revolution irresistible. It's making the revolution revolting to people. For no pun intended. And it's just, I mean, and then you bail on Gaza and the Gazans for, summer vacation. And then you don't show up to the Democratic Convention. It just, like, there's an awful lot of stuff that turned people against the protesters and the kids and the Democrats and created a beautiful, big, beautiful narrative for the Trump campaign. And here's a guy who was indicted in 5 different places, 4 or 5 different court cases at the same time, a year before the election, who's been defending people who tried to overrun the Capitol and killing a policeman or a guard, and was looking like a shambolic campaign that all these things combined to give to a narrative to. And I'm not saying, again, I don't believe that the elections in the United States actually take place. But even if they didn't, it still provides the narrative for people to think, well, now we can comprehend how a 34-time indicted person could get in because of all this momentum that the right has built up through a series of. And I'm just touching on I'm just touching the tip here. I'm only allowing the tip to enter into this conversation. But there's more to it than that. And if the elections are for real, there's no doubt that all this stuff helped get Trump elected. Because the intolerant people are motivated by this type of stuff in a big way. Whereas, it seems like the left, they couldn't give a rat's ass. And there's a reason for that. I mean, the leaders of the left are jerk-offs. The Hillarys and the Kirsten Gillibrand and the Debbie Wasserman Schultz still has a job. She's still in the House of Representatives. How is that possible? And Tim Kaine with the human yawn, and one trick pony, Tim. What's a guy from the Minnesota governor? Tim Schultz, Tim Waltz. And Kamala is going, buying record albums, and they have this meme of her buying vinyl. Oh, look at Kamala buying vinyl. Wow. And then she calls Charles Mingus, she calls him Charlie Mingus. Nobody calls Charles Mingus Charlie Mingus, except people who don't even know what they're talking about. I got some old Charlie Mingus here. Number 8 of the top 10 worst elevator pitches, the MAGA monsters. Weak. Man, I'm going to wrap this one up. All right, number 7 of the top 10 worst TV elevators, Late Night with Liberals. You know, these guys aren't liberals. Frickin', how does, what's his name? Fallon even have a job? This guy's the least talented, most obnoxious. It's like the guy, you're at a party and you're having a really deep, thoughtful, emotionally connected conversation with somebody that you really respect, and you're just like knee deep in some deep, heavyweight subject, and some obnoxious jerk off horns their way into the conversation and starts like, who wants to do a beer bong? Oh, that's Fallon. Is the guy asking two people who are like really connecting on a deep and emotionally connected level if they want a beer bong. And Kimmel, Kimmel, it's an act. His anti-Trump stuff is all an act. So this is a guy who did the Man Show. If you don't know what the Man Show is, and the Karl Malone relentless blackface of actual blackface, like a minstrel show treatment of Karl Malone on a regular basis. Kimmel and the most misogynistic show in history, the Man Show, and he's got a compound out in Idaho, which is the mini white Aryan nation that they're building out there in the Pacific Northwest. I just don't get it. And then Colbert, it was okay, I suppose, but he bashed Bernie when he really needed some support, and I don't know. It seems kind of vapid. All of it seems like toothless. Not the dragon from How to Train Your Dragon, but just toothless intellectually. And Saturday Night Live, it's just like the whitewashing of America. It's all. They have these windows where they could be doing stuff that's relevant and pertinent and has, gives us some traction to, at the very least, just to think that we're not alone and that we're, but it's just what they put in there is oftentimes so underwhelming that it feels like just a big pile of lies, like everything. And they're not, all the owners of media are all these mega conglomeration, ultra-conservative corporations. They're not going to actually put anybody in a position of power and give them the distribution and the bully pulpit and whatnot if they're actually representing the possibility that they, will create a movement that threatens the status quo. What are you, fooling yourself? Enough's enough already. Wake up. And they got, who else they got here? They got The Daily Show and Jon Stewart, who's like, again, in the lead up to the 2024 election, is making fun of the DNC. He's got a big, huge video montage of stuff from the DNC convention that he does. It's 15-something minutes long, and it's just bashing the hell out of Democratic Party and their members. And look, they all deserve it. The Democratic National Convention all these leaders of the Democrats are just goddamn jokes. Bill Clinton talking about blah, 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 and so on and so forth. When he, was knocking boots with Monica Lewinsky, or something to that effect. And Elizabeth Warren and Hillary Clinton are both, were both hardcore Republicans, especially Hillary, who was a volunteer for frickin' Barry Goldwater, of all people. These are people who in their formative years were Republicans. And then you got, they show on The Daily Show, this person, the nosebleed seats at the Democratic convention is just kind of, scrolling through her phone, totally detached but they don't show you that this is when somebody was doing a speech. They just show it saying, like, look at this detached moron. And this is, sort of, they presented it as if it was typifying of the average Democratic National Convention supporter. And then the one that really bugged me was after Kill Tony during the Republican hate rally tribute to Nazi Madison Square Garden event from 1939 that they did, right in advance of the elections in 2024. And Kill Tony comes out and says Puerto Rico is nothing but a floating island of garbage. And the Democrats had the first sort of daylight that they had seen in a long time with something like that, because there were, I think, 900,000 Puerto Ricans that lived in Pennsylvania, one of the swing states. And Jon Stewart says, like, oh, don't be so stodgy about things. It was just a joke, that's just a joke. And started apologizing for, Kill Tony, and saying that Democrats were overreacting. And they showed the clip, and then they come back from it, and Jon Stewart's there laughing like they're, ha, 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 this is funny. And then on that same episode, he announced that he renewed his contract with The Daily Show for another year. So these are not genuine people. They are creating lies in order for us to feel connected, like there's some sort of representation for lefties in, mainstream cultural edifices. But there isn't. It's all lies. Lies, I tell you. All right, so there's no late night with liberals. It's all just a bunch of hardcore right-wingers pretending to be liberals. Number 6, top 10 worst TV show elevator pitches. The real polio victims of Beverly Hills. So, there's rumors that Evel Knievel's grandson is going to jump 20 iron lungs with polio victims who are paralyzed for life because, some parents just couldn't be bothered with vaccines. Oh, my precious child could have problems with the vaccine, so let's put their lives at risk with very likely problems to avoid conjecture problems that are made up by RFK Jr., who took tons of drugs and had a worm eat its way through his brain. I get it. Red dye number 2, it's out there. If you spend 150 years nonstop eating your body weight in red dye number 2 every couple of hours, in 150 years you might have extra growths and stuff like that. But pregnant women can't even eat fish because it's got too much mercury in it. And that will cause brain damage. And people aren't abiding by that. It's like putting red dye number 2 first as the top priority of a government's health and welfare initiatives is absolutely, completely insane. And turning over the food pyramid so that it's upside down and saying, well, all problems fixed. Sorry, we got the food pyramid. And then when they come out with the food pyramid campaign, they put the head celebrity who's the face of the food pyramid campaign as being, they name it to be Mike Tyson, a guy who was convicted of rape. And at the same time, all the Epstein file controversies are raging. So they got so completely tone deaf and malignant that they're like, well, let's put Mike Tyson's got rehabilitated his reputation. Let's put him on top of the thing so we'll have the food pyramid. The upside down will make the upside down pyramid. Upside down food pyramids. Hey, I'm helping. Not helping. Diverting people's, it's a forced perspective, diverting people saying, think we're really going to be doing something by eliminating red dye number 2 and spending any time on that, but not even a single penny before you wipe out some of the other, various different types of poisons. Can we go for a day or two without there being a massive food recall or product recall of something of nature for all kinds of things that are deleterious to people's ongoing health in a much bigger way than red dye number 2 ever was. I mean, if you're a rat living in a cage inside of a testing laboratory, and they're feeding you nothing but red dye number 2 for 150 years, you'll still be doing better than a rat eating fish that's just fished out of normal fisheries. Number 5 of the top 10 worst TV illustrated pictures. Remember, these are the worst before you start to have the knee-jerk reaction. And it's the time is catering to the Epstein crowd, because nobody in the United States really has done any time or even got a slap on the wrist for the actual participation in the Epstein thing. It's Honey, I Spunked the Kids for the Epstein crowd, because, there's nothing more fun than the average Epstein aficionado loves more than spending some time in their crawl space having the videos from the backscatter machines at the airports that take video images of us naked piped into their own crawl space where they can just... Yeah, I don't even want to get into the details of it, but you know what I'm trying to drive at, that these people... But it's like, look, and if we can just be honest for a minute here, the amount of people that are taking place in the Epstein tragedies and the horrible grooming of children and for sexual proclivities of these demented, sick, perverted monsters. I guess, what bothers me is the hypocrisy of it all, because there's 33 states in the United States where child brides are allowed. I think some states, there's no age limit. Like a lot of them are like 15 or 16, but I think like states like, I'm not sure, but California, some states have no age limit. Well, at least 1, 2. And it's like, okay, 33 states allow child brides. And I mean, sure, having the ruling elite kind of operate with impunity and get caught with their pants down, literally, is inexcusable. But the fact of the matter is that we're a perverted country of a bunch of messed up individuals who are, drugged out and ramped up sexually by a relentless sublimation of our sexual appetites and, endless. I mean, is there anything in this country that cleavage hasn't been used to sell? In other words, they sell movies, but they show cleavage. They want to sell perfume, cleavage. They want to sell cars, cleavage. Cleavage to beaver. And it's sickening. But what it does is it ramps everybody up. They get them all horn-dogged up and with no place to go except, to demented places. And that displacement of sexual impulses into merchandising is what creates a lot of this sickness. And it's part of capitalism. And until we get, to the bottom of what's causing these problems and creating all these sick-minded sexual deviants, it's 1 out of every 9 minutes a child is getting sexually abused in the United States, last I checked. And it's just, what are we doing here? It's not just the ruling elite on this particular one. It's the whole system that they've set up that's created a big, regrettable flaw in the American character that sort of churns out energized, enthusiastic child molesters. And I mean, it's a bigger issue than just worrying about the Epstein stuff, is what I'm trying to say. Therefore, Disney Channel is coming out with Honey, I Spunked the Kids, a show designed to 1 out of 9 adults. And, I don't know what to tell you. It's satire, right? I wouldn't have to do this type of gross stuff if y'all would, police your own area and whatnot and try to keep it together. Number 4, the top 10 worst TV show elevator pitches. Rich narcissists carrying on like untouchable jagoffs with meaningless, repetitive bulldink. One of my favorite things. I love the meaningless, repetitive bulldink show on the Discovery Channel. Meaningless, repetitive bulldink week is also a lot of fun. Although sometimes I think it's too much of a good thing. But have you seen that, in movies and TV shows and everything like that, people are usually pretty affluent. They don't have a lot of stuff where people are just kind of, barely making it and whatnot, or lower middle class or poor. They don't show a lot of that stuff. It's mostly rich narcissists carrying on like untouchable jagoffs with meaningless, repetitive bulldink. And I don't like it. I think it's not good for us, which is why it exists and is proliferated to such a enormous, with such an enormous footprint. Number 3 of the top 10 words to TV show elevator pitches. The NFL without product placement and cheating referees. Now, I have to add to this, since I was without jobbing the public to screw them out of billions of dollars for stadium building and renovations. Because there's, I think, a half a dozen or more cities right now that are getting the big screw job by the NFL and their regional owners to try to pay tithe. It's time for a lot of these NFL cities to pay tithe to their malevolent NFL overlords. They need more capita per billionaire income from their luxury boxes. And they need to be able to max out more on their stadium income, because the stadium income goes directly to the owners, whereas the TV income is divided equally among the various members of the ownership council, the League of Extraordinary Jerkoffs, where they gather together in a conclave and fix the game to be as profitable as possible, both in the short term in terms of their advertising contracts, by making sure that the teams with the highest ratings get the furthest in playoffs so they can max out on their advertising income. And then also to try and long-term increase the net worth on paper on their balance sheets of the teams themselves. Because you've got teams that were bought for $100, 1,000 years ago. They're now worth, 10 billion. Hang on a second. Wait for it. We've got here franchise. Wait. We've been, first of all, the monochrome nature of the skin color in the halls of the owners is real regrettable. Okay, it's like endless stream of white people. And I don't think they'll make it public, but I believe that they probably have a Hall of Fame for the owners where they the glad handing and backslapping, the each other in private for all the various different negative impacts of their efforts, as they do what they do so well. The voodoo I'm trying to find the a level of increase of the worth balance sheet on paper worth of what the football franchises are worth these days, but I'm just not. My list is not cooperating with me. Sorry. Dallas Cowboys. Maybe something, but it's like billions of dollars. In case I don't find it, sorry. Trying things, doing things. Sorry, I'm keeping you up past your bedtime. Probably a lot of yous are out there thinking like, what is this? What am I watching this low rent garbage for? It's relevant and worth finding if I can only find the freaking stupid thing. I don't get it. Following the triumphant victory of the Dallas Cowboys, cocaine Cowboys, Cowboys from the movie Tombstone, owner of the Dallas Cowboys. Here's a funny list. The Confederacy as an established country dream sequence done in list form. This is a fun one. So let's say that we were to take the imaginary leap for a second and vision as if the United States Civil War was won by the Confederacy of what, and because the United States has got like an official national bird is like the American eagle, and the official anthem is the national anthem and stuff. So what if the Confederacy was an established country, and what would their list of representative items and stuff like that be like? So the Confederacy's official national motto would be, in God we trust, of course. The Confederacy's official national anthem would be Cotton Eye Joe. Cotton Eye Joe. Cotton Eye Joe. Imagine singing that one, taking a knee. Somebody taking a knee at the singing of the Confederacy national anthem, Cotton Eye Joe, at the March Madness. Confederacy's official Pledge of Allegiance would be Pledge of Egregiance. See, that's a pledge of a grievance. Confederacy's official national vehicle, the Ford F-150. I mean, that's pretty obvious. Confederacy's official national mammal would be roadkill. Confederacy's official flower, Venus flytrap. Confederacy's official national bird would be the vulture. See, this is all pretty negative. I mean, this better get funny in a hurry. Confederacy's official national performance issue, erectile dysfunction. Confederacy's official Bible, the Bible. And Confederacy's official pizza, New York style pizza. That's weird. You wouldn't think that. Confederacy's official NASCAR event, the Daytona 500. Confederacy's official slave restraint device, the bullwhip. Now, let me ask you a simple question. How is it that the state requires people to strap in their babies in the cars into these like really advanced, expensive car seats Okay? I mean, I get that. But all the dogs that people bring into their cars and stuff like that, who now everybody officially recognizes as family members, how they can sit in these cars and not have any restraint whatsoever. And they can fly out the windows and they're just like hanging out the windows and stuff like that. Any old fender bender, it's gonna, like, dogs will be dying. So I'm officially advocating for the mandatory implementation of dog restraint car seats for all dogs in cars. Mandatory. And I think that it's time that freaking time you got the freaking dogs. Oh man. You got to do it. I'm sorry, but I'm not going to finish this episode until it's done. I'm just going to sit here and just keep going. I got plenty of time here. I got nothing but time and reams of data availability on my V card. V card? That doesn't sound right. Confederacy's official crustacean for slow boils, the crawdad, of course. Confederacy's official national square dance step, Alamand left. Confederacy's official fringe element group, most commonly mistaken for an Alcoholics Anonymous chapter, QAnon. The Confederacy's official fringe element group, the Republican Party. Confederacy's official national beer, Bud Light. Confederacy's official raison d'etre, kick ass and take names, and we're all out of names. Confederacy's official box store, KKK Mart. Yeah. Confederacy's official poet laureate, that guy who wrote the Here I Sit Brokenhearted toilet stall graffiti poem. Confederacy's official seal, Airbud slam dunking. Confederacy's official national firearm, the one that killed Kennedy. Confederacy's official national crackpot theory, the vaccine jab took our jobs. Confederacy's official phrase to describe a pickup truck, ain't she a beauty? Confederacy's official presidential mansion, the Blight House, the double-wide trailer home manufactured by the Hicks from the Sticks Trailer Company, featuring amenities and an eternal 50-gallon chemical toilet. A gun rack in every room with built-in cigarette vending machines, Murphy beds, Murphy toilets, Murphy propane-heated kitchen sink, walk-in bathrooms, and a panic drawer. Confederacy's official book, not applicable. Confederacy's official Ernest movie, Ernest in the Army. No duh. Confederacy's official Valley Authority, the Tennessee Valley Authority. Confederacy's official national museum, the Prado, as in, we're proud of that museum. God damn. See, you never know what you stumble upon. Looking around for how much Dallas freaking Cowboys are worth compared to 10 years ago, freaking Doomsday Defense. Now, it's funny, if you watch, like, oh, I gotta go. But you can watch the famous Ice Bowl between the Dallas Cowboys and the Green Bay Packers in 1967, I think it was. And you look, there's very little footage available on that game. There's some footage, I've seen some. But it gets Tom Landry in there's wearing a KKK hood. I mean, it looks exactly like a KKK hood. And was there black magic involved in the NFL in the early days? Absolutely. And did, friends of Richard Nixon and Tom Landry give Vince Lombardi a premature cancer, a very aggressive premature cancer that wound up killing him? I would say probably. I'd say that's even money and stuff. So is the Cowboys logo an upside down pentagram? Yes, it is. And so, I mean, there you go. The wicked glowing aura of penetrating evil that Tom Landry exuded was well known in certain circles as demonic and at the highest levels of darkness. His bold decision to wear a Klansman's hood during the notorious Ice Bowl game in the NFC Championship game in 1967 in Green Bay is considered by many to be the first example of a dog whistle in recorded history. Also true. Here, let me show you a clip. Oh, wait. Oh, wow. Sorry. They're telling me that the clip is Doesn't exist. And then I have no capacity to be able to do clips. Oh, it's a clip job. I got to look it up again. I'm not going to let it go, man. I'm not going to let it go because the net worth of the Dallas Cowboys. God damn it, net worth. Oh, my hand is so messed up. Of Dallas Cowboys. Net worth of the Dallas Cowboys franchise. Here we go. This is going to tell me the history of it. God damn it. Forbes list of most. Here's a good one. Dallas is listed. 32 clubs are worth $7.1 billion on average, a 25% year-over-year jump. This is done in a study done in 2025. So from between 2024 and 2025, the value of these clubs went up 25% to average $7.1 billion is the worth of teams. I told you it'd be worth it. Last August, the Dallas Cowboys became the first pro team ever worth $10 billion. But a handful of stake sales around the NFL over the past 12 months, as well as the $6.1 billion sale of NBA's Boston Celtics and the $10 billion deal for the Los Angeles Lakers have shown that investors are more desperate than ever to join the sports franchise dogpile. And the Cowboys have now galloped right past the $11 billion and $12 billion thresholds on their way to their latest financial first down. This is the pretty interesting prose written there by Justin Teitelbaum from Forbes magazine, I guess. Dallas is NFL's most valuable. Now worth $13 billion, up 29% from 2024. Yeah. I bought stock in polio vaccine. So there you go. There you have it. Anyway, that's all the time we got. That's all, folks. And what I got here was today was what a groundbreaking, intense episode of Top 10 Worst of. It's been today Top 10 Worst TV show elevator pitches. I bet you. Oh, wait, we're not done. Stupid. Number 2. Oh, the pain. Oh, I did it. Oh, I got 2 in a row. That was painful, though. It was not a good idea to do 2 in a row. Number 2 of the top 10 worst TV show elevator pitches, Bill Maher being systematically tortured in a modern Abu Ghraib. Now, that would make a fun TV show. Maybe a sitcom. And the number 1 of the top 10 worst TV show elevator pitches of all times, or, whatever, Saturday Night Live, but funny. Now that's officially all the time we've got for Top 10 Worst of Lists. The Top 10 Worst TV Show Elevator Pitches, perhaps the greatest, perhaps the most revealing, perhaps the most intrinsically valuable Top 10 Worst of List that's ever been created anywhere. And I'm totally stoked by the endless possibilities that this channel can present for the opportunities for people to become you're truly enlightened and empowered to be able to make a difference in the world and actually be engaged in the process of creating our fate. And I just want a couple more things. I just want to make sure before you go, I got some.